Buenos dias. Okay, I'm going to go over what we would have done in class yesterday, and hopefully pretty quick. I'm going to skip the first two slides as they would have been in groups, but then we would have gone over the uses of the imperfect, and we talked about this last Thursday, okay, that the imperfect is used to talk about habitual or repeated actions in the past. Okay? So that whole idea of used to go to the park, for example, íbamos al parque. Events or actions that were in progress in the past, like I was reading while he was studying. Yo leía mientras él estudiaba. To describe physical characteristics, like era alto y guapo, or mental or emotional states. Quería mucho a su familia. Ella estaba muy triste. To tell time. Eran las 3:30 de la tarde. And always age. Los niños tenían 6 años. Cuando yo tenía 6 años, yo era alta. Okay, so a combination of age with physical characteristics. And as we talked about too, the AR verbs are the aba endings. Aba, abas, aba, abamos with an accent. Aban. IR verbs are the ia, like bebía, escribía. Bebías, escribías. Bebía, escribía. Bebíamos, escribíamos. Bebían, escribían. And for all three forms, all three types of verbs, the yo, usted, él, and ella all have the same form. Okay? There are only 3 irregular verbs. Okay? The 3 irregular verbs are ir, ser, and ver. Okay? Now, ir and ser, just like the AR verbs, will have an accent mark. Íbamos, éramos, but all the forms of ver, like the IR verbs, will have an accent mark. So you have iba, ibas, iba, íbamos, iban. Era, eras, era, éramos, eran. Veía, veías, veía, veíamos, veían. Now what I would like you to do is pause this on this screen. Okay, we have Bárbara es una joven estudiante de arte. Completa la historia de la niñez de Bárbara con el tiempo imperfecto del verbo entre paréntesis. Después escribe en el espacio la letra del uso que corresponde a cada oración. Okay. So go ahead and pause right here for a moment and fill in what form of the verb is needed in the imperfect, and then put, okay, was this use for habitual repeated actions? Were these events or actions that were in progress? Were these physical characteristics? Were these mental or emotional states? Were we telling time? Or were we giving age? Okay, so pause. Okay. Just to save time, hopefully you've paused. But en mi niñez, yo era muy feliz. Okay? And that can be, habitually you were happy, or it could be also an emotional, mental state. Cada sábado, mis papás nos llevaban a la playa. Okay? Cada sábado tells us it was every Saturday, so habitual, repeated. Ellos tomaban el sol mientras mis hermanos y yo nadábamos. Okay, these were events or actions that were in progress, both at the same time. Cuando yo tenía 10 años, mi mamá empezó a estudiar medicina. Okay, so obviously, cuando yo tenía 10 años, age. Okay. Número 5. Mi mamá siempre llegaba a casa tarde y casi nunca la veíamos, mis hermanos y yo. Mis hermanos y yo casi nunca la veíamos. Okay. Again, this would be habitual. Okay? Repeated actions with the siempre or nunca. Okay? Then we would have gone to página 344, ejercicio 3. Okay? And you would have completed that activity. So if you pause now, go ahead and complete that activity. Okay, hopefully you've paused and you've come back. Okay. It's not going to help you any if you don't do the activity and you just go through these answers. Okay. So, ¿cuándo le dolía a Javier la cabeza? Cuando él tomaba un examen. ¿Cómo se sentía Victoria cuando hacía ejercicios aeróbicos? Se sentía mareada. ¿Por qué estornudaba y tosía mucho Javier? Porque es o porque era alérgico al polen. ¿Cuándo estornudaba Victoria? Cuando se sentía o cuando estaba congestionada. ¿Y qué pensaban las dos de su graduación? Pensaban que nunca iban a graduarse. Okay? And so all of those, we could see the different uses of the imperfect. Now, the biggest issue that comes into play is the differentiation between the preterite and the imperfect. Okay? They are not interchangeable. Okay? The choice between the two depends on the context and the point of view of the speaker or writer. And so I like to say about 90% of this is black and white. Okay, 5% preterite, 5% imperfect, or I should say 10% is black and white, 5% imperfect, 5% preterite. The other 90% is gray, depending on the context and what you're trying to say. So we have two examples. Me rompí el brazo cuando estaba paseando en bicicleta. Tenía dolor de cabeza, pero me tomé una aspirina y se me fue. Okay. So here we have actions that were going on. Estaba paseando en bicicleta. And we have then tenía dolor de cabeza. Okay. Then we have actions that kind of interrupted these ongoing actions. Me rompí el brazo, me tomé una aspirina, se me fue. So, first comparison and contrast. The preterite is used to express actions that are viewed by the speaker as completed. Sandra se rompió la pierna. Fueron a Buenos Aires ayer. Whereas the imperfect describes an ongoing past action, has no reference to the beginning or the end of the action. So, Sandra esperaba al doctor. El médico se preocupaba por sus pacientes. Okay, there's no beginning or end. Now, with the preterite, we know it's been completed. Okay. When we want to express the beginning of or the end of an action, we're going to use the preterite. And that's why verbs like empezar and terminar, or comenzar as well, are more often than not used in the preterite. Okay. La película empezó a las 9. Ayer terminé el proyecto para la clase de química. The imperfect, as we've talked about, is habitual actions, or past events. Okay. Cuando era joven, jugaba al tenis. De niño, Eduardo se enfermaba con mucha frecuencia. Okay. If we want to narrate a series of past actions, kind of like it's moving our story forward, we're going to use the preterite. La doctora me miró los oídos. Me hizo unas preguntas. Escribió la receta. And so she looked in my ears. She asked me questions and wrote prescription. So it's a series of events. Me di con la mesa, me caí, me lastimé el pie. Okay, so I bumped into the table, I fell, and I injured my foot. These are all a series of completed actions. Whereas the imperfect is used to describe physical, emotional states or characteristics in the past. La chica quería descansar, se sentía mal y tenía un dolor de cabeza. So she was wanting to rest. She felt ill, she was feeling bad, and she had a headache. Ellos eran altos y tenían ojos verdes. So they were tall and they had green eyes. Estábamos felices de ver a la familia. So we were happy to see our family. The preterite and the imperfect often appear in the same sentence, and in such cases, the imperfect describes what was happening, while the preterite describes the action that interrupted the ongoing activity. Okay. Miraba la tele cuando sonó el teléfono. So I was watching TV when the phone rang. Felicia leía el periódico cuando llegó Ramiro. So Felicia was reading the newspaper when Romero arrived. Okay. So these are kind of the differences we're going to focus on right now between the preterite and the imperfect. Okay, the next thing I would like you to do is to watch this little clip that I have of Vengadores Infinity War. Okay, you're going to see the preterite and imperfect together in narratives such as fiction, news, retelling of events. The imperfect is providing background information, such as the time, the weather, the location, what people were doing, while the preterite indicates specific events that occurred. Okay? So, using the PowerPoint, what I would like you to do is watch the video. You'll have to go into the PowerPoint and watch the video, and then, if you notice, the imperfect I have in red. It's giving us the background information. Okay? The preterite is in blue. And you're going to see a mixture of questions. So what I'd like you to do after you watch the video is to answer these questions. ¿Dónde estaban el hombre araña, el hombre de hierro y el doctor extraño? ¿Cómo era el lugar? Una descripción. ¿Qué hacían ellos antes de llegar los guardianes de la galaxia? ¿Y qué hizo Drax cuando llegó o entró? ¿Cómo se sentía? ¿Quién lo atacó? ¿Qué hicieron Quill y el hombre de hierro? ¿Y cómo estaba el hombre araña, Peter Parker, cuando Mantis se acercó? ¿Y por qué? ¿Qué querría saber Quill? ¿Qué le preguntó al hombre de hierro? ¿Qué les preguntó Drax? ¿Tenía sentido? ¿Y qué le iba a hacer Quill al hombre araña? ¿Por qué no le hizo? Y al final, ¿de qué se dieron cuenta de todos? Okay. So I'd like you to go ahead and do that. Then, I will continue in a moment. Okay, then what I would like you to do is, I have put up a PDF document, okay? And I would like you to go to the third page. Might list it as page 366. It's the third page of this document. And I'd like you to look at El accidente de Nelson. De niño, Nelson era muy inquieto. Lee la historia sobre un accidente que tuvo y complétala con el pretérito o el imperfecto de los verbos entre paréntesis según corresponda. Okay? And so I want you to go ahead and just finish part A. You're going to decide preterite or imperfect and then the right form of the verbs there. And I want you to bring this to class tomorrow. Okay? Thursday, November 21st. Okay, hopefully this helps.